Hello friends, welcome to the Cool Vedas. That's Veda School. In the last video we saw as to how the brave Drupada along with his countrymen and soldiers had driven away the mighty Kauravas out of Panchala Desa. Today, let's see what the Pandavas will do in order to honor their Guru's request. Now, this story was mentioned in Sambhava Parva in Adi Parva. So, let's listen along and find out if Arjuna and his brothers will be able to seize Drupada for the sake of their Guru. So, the Pandavas who were waiting near the town gates heard the terrible wails of the beaten Kauravas. Understanding everything, Arjuna and his brothers quickly saluted their Guru Dronacharya and they ascended their chariots ready for their mission. Then Arjuna politely stopped his elder brother Yudhishthira from engaging in fight. He then rushed forward and appointed Nakula Sahadeva as the protectors of his chariot wheels, while Bhimasena, ever fighting with mace in hand, ran ahead to battle. Arjuna, thus accompanied by his brothers, hearing the shouts of the enemies, advanced towards them, filling the whole region with the rattle of his chariot wheels. And like a Makara entering the sea, the mighty armed Bhima, resembling a second Yama itself, with mace in hand, entered the Panchalas, roaring fiercely. And Bhima first rushed towards the array of elephants of the enemies, and he began to slay those elephants with his mace. Those huge animals, like unto mountains, struck with Bhima's mace, had their heads broken into pieces. Covered with stream of blood, they began to fall upon the ground like cliffs struck by thunder. Meanwhile, Falguna attacked Drupada with a shower of arrows and made him fall down from the elephant on which he was seated. And Arjuna, just like the terrible fire that consumes everything at the end of the yuga, began to strike on the ground horses, chariots, and elephants by thousands. The Panchalas and the Srinjayas, on the other hand, thus attacked by the Pandava, struck him back with a perfect shower of weapons of various kinds. And they sent up a loud shout and fought desperately with Arjuna. The battle became furious and terrible to watch. For those who watched Arjuna at that time in the battlefield could not make out when he had fixed the arrow on his bowstring and when he had let it go. So quick was he in archery, so quick was he in using his hands in weapons. Then the king of the Panchalas, accompanied by the general of his forces, that is Satyajit, rushed with speed at Arjuna, just like the Asura Samvara had rushed at Indra in the battle of olden times. Now Samvara was a mighty Danava prince. He will be mentioned further in Mahabharata in the Anushasana Parva. So now let's get back to the present story. The battle between Pandavas and Drupada, that is. So, when Drupada and his Senadipati was attacked by Arjuna, the Pandava prince covered the king of Panchala with a shower of arrows. Then there arose a frightful roar from the Panchala king, like unto the roar of a mighty lion attacking the leader of a herd of elephants. And seeing Arjuna rushing at the king of Panchala to seize him, Satyajit of great power rushed at him. And the two warriors, Arjuna and Satyajit, fought just like Indra and the Asura Virochana's son Vali had fought in the olden days. They crushed each other's army. Then Arjuna with great force pierced Satyajit with 10 shafts. But Satyajit, without losing any time, bravely attacked Arjuna with 100 shafts. Then that mighty warrior Arjuna, blessed with remarkable lightness of hand, though covered by shower of arrows, rubbed his bowstring so as to increase the force and velocity of his shaft. The shaft that he thus left towards Satyajit had cut Satyajit's bow into two. And Arjuna, now seeing that Satyajit was fallen, rushed at the king of the Panchalas. But the Senadipati of Panchala Desa did not give up. He quickly took another tougher bow and pierced Arjuna, his chariot, his charioteer, and horses with his arrows. Now this angered Arjuna greatly, and he could not forgive Satyajit for this. Eager to kill him at once, Arjuna pierced Satyajit's horses, flags, bow, his clenched left fist, the charioteer, and the attendant at his back with his arrows. Then Satyajit, the mighty general of Panchala Desa's army, finding his bows repeatedly cut and his horses slayed, felt to restrain from the fight. Thus, Satyajit abstained himself from the battle. Now, the king of Panchalas, meanwhile, seeing his Senadipati discontinue the battle, was very much angered, and with new vigor, the king began to shower his arrows upon the Pandava prince. Then Arjuna, that best of warriors, began to fight back furiously. He cut his enemy's bow into two pieces and made his flagstaff fall down. He also pierced Drupada's horses and his charioteer with 5 arrows. Then, throwing aside his bow, Arjuna took up his quiver and, taking out a dagger and sending forth a loud shout, leaped from his own chariot to that of Drupada's. And standing there with perfect fearlessness, he seized Drupada, just as Garuda seizes a huge snake from the agitated waters of the ocean. Seeing their king thus captured, the Panchala troops feared and they ran away in all directions. Then Dhananjaya walked holding Drupada as his captive. Seeing Arjuna thus, the other Pandava princes began to attack the Panchala troops with greater force. Seeing that, Arjuna addressed them saying, he said, "This best of monarchs, Drupada, is a relative of the Kuru heroes. Therefore, O Bhima, slay not his soldiers. Let us only take him captive and give him unto a guru," said Arjuna. Now thus prevented by Arjuna, the mighty Bhimasena, though not satisfied with the exercise of battle, refrained himself from harming the Panchala soldiers thereafter. The Pandava princes then, taking Drupada with them, after having seized him on the battlefield along with his friends and counselors, offered him unto their guru, the one and only Dronacharya. Now, what has Dronacharya in store for Drupada? To have his revenge, will Drona slay his childhood friend Drupada? Or does Drona have an insult in store for Drupada, where death would have been a better bargain for the Panchala king than this insult? So let's read along and find out more.
Please like, share and subscribe our channel for more Mahabharata stories. Don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you. Namaste.